Welcome to the ACE Project, brought to you by the Literacy.io team at Texas A&M University. I'm your host, Ashley Stack, also known as Captain Comprehension. We are so excited you'll be joining us on this reading journey and hope you and your child enjoy this time together. So get comfy, rev up your brains, and get ready to think, because we are ready to help you become a comprehension detective.
Hi, Super Readers. My name is Captain Comprehension, and I am here to guide you as you become a comprehension detective. Welcome to episode 43 of our podcast. This month, we're reading Gleam and Glow by Eve Bunting. Have you ever been forced to leave somewhere when you did not want to? In our story today, we're going to read about a boy and his family as they flee from their home. As we read, pay close attention to an unexpected glimmer of hope in their predicament. Before we begin reading, let's go over some vocabulary that will help us better understand the story. Our first word is sweeping. Sweeping means moving quickly over a big space. A synonym or word that means the same might be expanding or far-reaching, and an antonym or opposite would be restricted or limited. In Spanish, abarcando. In this picture, a tornado is sweeping through this country. Our second term is deserted. Deserted means empty or unused. A synonym or word that means the same might be abandoned or vacant, and an antonym or opposite would be occupied or full. In Spanish, abandonado or abandonada. This right here is a deserted house. Next we have the term liberators. Liberators are people who set others free. A synonym or word that means the same would be rescuers or saviors, and an antonym or opposite would be catchers or imprisoners. In Spanish, libertadores or libertadoras. Right here, we have a picture of what it would mean to be liberated by somebody who is a liberator. And lastly, we have the term rubble. Rubble is pieces of something that's left after it's been destroyed. A synonym or word that means the same would be debris, wreckage, or ruins. And we don't really have any antonyms or opposites for this one. In Spanish, escombros. And here we have a man who's walking through some rubble. All right, super readers, it's time to pause your videos and to scan for that Google form so that way you can respond to our questions. When you're ready, press play so you can hear what the questions are. What does the word rubble mean? A. Nice building. B. Wreckage. C. Bombs. D. Intact. Which is a synonym for the word deserted? A. Inhabited. B. Debris. C. Abandoned. D. Dry. All right, detectives, let's read the story. When Papa left to join the underground, Marina cried. To be truthful, Mama and I cried too. I don't want Papa to be underground, Marina sobbed. Shh, little one, Mama said. It just means he's fighting secretly with many of our men, on top of the ground. I gave Marina a pitying glance. She's only 5 and doesn't know much. I'm 8, and I know a lot. Before we left, Papa had tried to explain things to Marina. Why don't those people like us? She asked. I didn't know why either, but I rolled my eyes and pretended I did. We're different from them, Papa told her. They think this is their country and they don't want us living here. But this is our country. I will fight with the Liberation Army to stop them from pushing us out of our own land. He put his hand on my shoulder. Victor, you are the man of the house now. Be a strong help to your mother. And then he was gone. I'll be back, he'd said. But I worried. What if he came back and we weren't here? Mama said we would have to leave soon. It was getting too dangerous to stay much longer. Our enemies were coming, sweeping through villages like great brooms, forcing people out and burning their homes. Every day we heard distant gunshots and saw smoke rise in the faraway skies. Every day strangers stopped on their way out of the country and put down their bundles to share our food, to take shelter under our roof. They told terrible stories of how it had been for them and their neighbors when the soldiers came. They cried as they talked. Their eyes went this way and that as if they thought the soldiers were just outside of our doorstep. When the stories got too terrible, Mama sent Marina and me to the pond for fresh water, or to the vegetable patch to look for hidden potatoes. But we heard a lot anyway. Marina started to suck her thumb again, and I with the bed 3 nights in a row. Mama held me close. "It's all right, Victor. There is no harm done." One day a family came on a tractor. They had a boy my age named Alexa and a dog who liked to do tricks. Alexa liked showing him off. "My father is in the underground," I told him, and I felt proud. Having a father in the underground was better than having a dog who could do tricks. I watched them leave the next morning. We don't have a tractor. I knew that when we left, we would have to walk. A few days later, a man came. His heavy bag was strapped on his back, and he was carrying a bowl with water and 2 fish in it. He put the bowl on our table, and it seemed that all the light of the world was trapped inside that glass bowl. "I can't carry them farther," he said. "Will you keep them? They are very wondrous fish." Mama shook her head. "We are leaving ourselves in a day or 2. Marina jumped up and down. "Please, Mama, aren't they pretty? I've just thought up their names. Gleam and Glow." The man sighed. "Let them stay behind when you go then. An extra day or 2 of life is as important to a fish as it is to us. Here is their food." He gave Marina a twist of paper. "Sprinkle a little on top of the water each day." "I will," Marina promised. For 2 days she fed them and talked to them and even tried to pet them with her finger. "I love Gleam and Glow," she told Mama. "I love them with all my heart." 3 days later, Mama said we could wait no longer. "I wanted to stay till it got warmer," she said softly, as if to herself. "The cold will be hard on the little one." I knew she was remembering the pneumonia Marina had last year. "We will leave tomorrow early," she said to us. "We must make it to the border and the safe country beyond." "Is it far to walk?" I asked, wishing for a tractor. "It is, but we will get there." "Please, please, can we take Gleam and Glow?" Marina begged. "I'll carry them." "You couldn't, Marina," Mama said. "We will have to leave them. But think, we may be able to find your father. Won't that be good?" I thought maybe she was just trying to give us hope, but even the goodness of that hope didn't comfort Marina. She slept with Mama that night, and I heard her sobbing for a long time before it was quiet, and I knew she was asleep. I lay looking around my room, putting it in my memory. My books on the shelves Papa had made for me, the painting I had done that Mama had framed. I thought about how hard it would be for Marina to leave her fish. When the clock struck midnight, I got up, carried the fishbowl outside to our pond, and slipped Gleam and Glow into the water. They flashed into the tangled weeds at the edge of the pond. I sprinkled what was left of their food on the water. 1 or 2 extra days of life," I whispered. "Good luck." We would need good luck too. Mama woke us at dawn. When I told about the fish, we went out to see if they made it through the night. Marina clapped her hands and called their names, but Gleam and Glow stayed out of sight. "Maybe they're sleeping," she said. "I know they'll love our pond." Our bundles were ready to carry, 2 each for Mama and me and a smaller one for Marina. The road outside our house was filled with half-light shadows. I looked back once as we walked away. There was our oak tree, the vegetable patch, Mama's flower garden where the flowers waited under the earth for spring. Would we ever come home again? Would Papa ever find us? We walked and walked. We were slow and people passed us, but some went at our pace, and the things they told us made us know that we had been right to leave before the horror reached out to us. We walked and walked. A man with a wheelbarrow let Marina ride on top for a whole day. He took one of Mama's bundles and one of mine. That was the best walking day ever. At night, we slept in fields or barns. One night it rained hard, but we were lucky to find a deserted house, and we slept well. Once some men from our Liberation Army stopped and shared chickens with us. We had chicken stew that night. "Do you know our Papa?" Marina asked. But they said they didn't. We kept looking for Papa, thinking sometimes we saw him. But it was always a stranger who looked just like him. Some days Marina and I begged to stop. We could go no farther, but Mama's will pulled us on. And then, one morning, we heard cheers from people walking ahead of us. Someone shouted, "I see the border! We're almost there!" All along the line, everyone cheered until our throats hurt. It was better after we crossed the border. There was a camp with tents for us to live in. There was food and fires to cook it. We could wash our clothes and ourselves. There were other children in the camp. I made friends with two boys named Behar and Amir, and we played games together. We were allowed to paint the initials of the Liberation Army on a wall, and we felt good, as if we were fighting alongside the liberators to set our country free. We were in the camp for a long time, and that is where Papa found us. I looked up one evening, and there he was, dirty and thin, but beautiful. Marina and I screamed for joy, and he picked us both up and kissed our faces over and over. Mama stood with tears running down her cheeks, and he gathered her close and whispered into her hair. She touched his face with her fingertips as if she thought he was just a dream. "Are you really here?" "I am here," Papa said softly. "It's a miracle I found you. I asked and asked, always I asked." Marina tugged at his leg. "Can you stay, Papa?" "Yes, little one," Papa smiled. I didn't know how he could stay. It was enough that he could. "Can we go home now, Papa?" I asked. "Not yet, Victor. Soon." But it was many months before we were told it was safe to leave. That night we all danced between the rows of tents. It was a great, joyful party. The next day we started on the long walk home. And oh, it was sad. We saw no houses, no farms, no animals along the way, just rubble and great holes where bombs had fallen. We walked and walked. I knew our house would be gone. I didn't want to know that, but somehow I just did. Papa carried Marina on his shoulders, and she jabbered happily. She was the only one who thought our old life would be waiting for us. When I saw the oak tree still standing, my heart raced with hope. I clutched Mama's hand. Maybe it was going to be all right. Then I looked beyond the tree. Our house was only a skeleton. A few flowers poked up from Mama's garden. Except for that, we could have been on the moon. Marina was the first to remember the fish. She took a stale slice of bread from Mama's bundle and ran toward the pond, calling out Gleam and Glow's names. We ran behind to comfort her. And there was our pond, as shimmery and dazzling as melted gold. It was filled with countless fish. Mama pressed her hands to her heart. "Gleam and Glow and their children and their children's children," she said. "They found their own nourishment," Papa said. Marina clapped her hands. "Oh, what smart fish," she said. "In spite of everything, they lived," Mama whispered. Like us, I thought. They lived. "Gleam, glow," Marina called and tossed in crumbs of bread. Fish after fish came to the edge of the pond where she knelt. "Look," she pointed. "There's Gleam and there's Glow." That made us laugh because those fish were as identical as could be. "Did you miss me?" Marina asked them. "I missed you." I leaned close to the water. "We're back, Gleam and Glow," I told the fish. "We've come home." Such a powerful story, and I hope you enjoyed reading Gleam and Glow. While we were reading, I hope you were thinking about the text structure for our story. One word that stood out to me is this word hope that they talked about. And there was a fight. Their father was in the Liberation Army. Their home was destroyed. That certainly is a big problem. They lived. And finally, it was safe to leave. So use your bookmarks and try to ask yourself, was this cause and effect, problem and solution, cause, problem and solution, or comparison? On your Google form, answer the multiple choice text structure question. When you're ready, press play. Welcome back, super readers. I hope you chose cause, problem, and solution as the text structure for this story. If you didn't and you were somewhat close, that's perfectly okay with me, but I'm going to use cause, problem, and solution, which means to write my main idea, I'm going to use the stems the cause is, the problem is, and the solution is. Take a moment, discuss it with your adult partner, and then write your main idea down using the stems the cause is, the problem is, the solution is. When you're ready, press play to see what I wrote. Hey there, detectives. Here's what I wrote for my main idea. The cause is an enemy is sweeping through the country. The problem is Victor and his family are forced to leave their home and leave Gleam and Glow behind. The solution is Victor and his family eventually return home where Gleam and Glow thrived. How does yours compare to mine? I bet it was pretty close. All right. Let's use our main ideas to help us answer a multiple choice main idea question, just like those we'll see on our state tests. What is the best main idea for the selection? A. Despite the war, Gleam and Glow multiplied in the pond, where they now live with their children and their children's children. B. An enemy swept through Victor's country. His father left him, his mother, and his sister to join the Liberation Army, which fought the enemy. C. Victor and Marina were sad when they had to leave Gleam and Glow behind to escape an army sweeping across their country. Or D. Victor's family was forced to leave their homes to escape an enemy. When they return, they find Gleam and Glow survived like them. Pause your videos and send in your answer now. Welcome back, detectives. It's time for us to extend our main idea to write a summary. Remember, when we write our summaries, we always use our main idea and expand it with details that support our cause, our problem, and our solution in order to make it into a summary. So I'm going to think back to my main idea. The cause is an enemy is sweeping through the country. The problem is Victor and his family are forced to leave their home and leave Gleam and Glow behind. The solution is Victor and his family eventually return home where Gleam and Glow thrived. So think of some details you could add to your cause, some details you could add to your problem, and some details you could add to your solution. Discuss it with your adult partner, and when you're ready, press play to see what I put. Hey, super readers, here's what I wrote for my summary. The cause is an enemy is sweeping through the country. As people are forced to leave their homes, they stop at Victor's farm. One man gives Victor and Marina 2 golden fish, which Marina names Gleam and Glow. The problem is Victor and his family are forced to leave their home and leave Gleam and Glow behind. Victor releases the fish into their pond, hoping to give them a bit more life. They stay in a camp for many months. The solution is Victor and his family eventually return home where Gleam and Glow thrived. Gleam and Glow had many children, and the pond was full of gold. They lived just like Victor and his family. All right, comprehension detectives, let's answer a multiple choice summary question. Remember, we're looking for an answer choice that contains the cause, the problem, and the solution, plus some added details. What is the best summary of the selection? A. A man leaves 2 fish with Victor and his family after he was forced to leave his home to escape an enemy. When Victor's family also leaves, Victor releases Gleam and Glow into their pond. After months in a camp, Victor and his family return home to find their home destroyed, but a pond full of beautiful golden fish. B. Victor's father left their family to fight against the enemy. Many people leave their homes and find help at Victor's farm. One of them is a man with 2 golden fish that Marina named Gleam and Glow. When Victor and his family are forced to leave their home, they have to leave Gleam and Glow behind. C. Victor and his family left home to escape from the enemy trying to take over their country. After many days of walking, Victor, his mother, and his sister finally reach a camp outside of the border. They are reunited with Victor's father at the camp, but it is months before they can go home. D. Victor and Marina were scared by the stories they heard from people fleeing their homes. Marina began to suck her thumb again, and Victor had accidents at night. They could see smoke in the distance and hear gunshots in the distance. Pause your videos and discuss what your answer would be with your adult partner. Then fill out the Google form to send in your answer now. All right, comprehension detectives, we have one more task. It's time for us to infer. Remember, when we infer, we take what we just read, we add it together with what we already have in our backgrounds or our knowledge, and we're able to make an inference. Read this excerpt from the story. In spite of everything, they lived, Mama whispered. Like us, I thought. They lived. The excerpt supports the theme of the story by showing that 2. The reader can infer that Victor. All right, let's look at what these look like as a multiple choice question so you can send in your answer now. Read this excerpt from the story. In spite of everything, they lived, Mama whispered. Like us, I thought. They lived. The excerpt supports the theme of the story by showing that A. Fish will always be fine if there are at least 2. B. Hope can be found even in difficult situations. C. Life is easy when you have a place to live. D. Whispering around animals is a good idea. Okay, comprehension detectives, last question. The reader can infer that Victor A. Believed Gleam and Glow would be waiting in the pond. B. Thought Marina was silly for naming the fish. C. Did not think Gleam and Glow had survived. D. Wanted to be the first to see Gleam and Glow when they returned. Pause your video and send in your answer now. Thank you so much for joining us this month, Comprehension Detectives. I hope you enjoyed listening to Gleam and Glow. Remember, we can all be super readers. Until next time, this is Captain Comprehension, signing off.